recording. We'll go ahead and get started a few seconds early. Calling to order the meeting of the Finance Committee, April 15th. We'll call roll. Alderman Parsley.
Here.
Vice Mayor Messick.
Vice Messick's here too.
Vice Messick.
Yep.
And Alderman Crossan, also the mayor, Mr. Hobbs. All right, approval of the agenda.
So moved.
Second.
You want to change something?
I just want to add one item underneath it, added items number 11, and that's the handout that we give you that was passed last night at safety for consideration for the Manchester Police Department.
Yeah. Sorry, last
So
night.
if we can just add MPD discussion, that'd be perfect.
All right, any other amendments? All right, I'll entertain a motion to accept the amended agenda.
Yes.
All right, agenda is approved. Approval of the minutes from the February 18th meeting.
So moved.
Second.
So that 3-0 vote. All right, public comments. Anything from the crowd? Hearing none. Item number 5, audit services renewal with Matlock and Clements.
Anthony just wanted me to let you know that there was no fee increase, that it remained the same as last year.
So it's 42,000, something like that? Yeah, I don't think that, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we need a motion to keep them on or something, or what?
I'll make the motion.
I'll second it.
All right.
Our agenda right there, like I said.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, the ayes have it 3-0. All right, item number 6, rec center sprinkler system and evac repairs.
Who would be here to talk on that?
I think it is Mr. AJ.
$21,000, right?
Yes, sir.
Is it in your budget for this year?
I believe from where we weren't able to do all the aquatic repairs we wanted to because of time constraints, we have enough money left over to make these repairs. Because we had $600,000 allotted for building repairs. $495,000 of that is going to aquatic repairs. So we should be able to take it from that building line item, because we have right now in that line item $560,233, and that's not taking out the $495,000.
Okay.
What was the first number, 560
$560,233 as of today is what's left in that line item.
with 490 to come out?
Correct.
So 65 grand-ish left.
Right.
$21,000 project.
I'll make the motion.
Hey, I'll second it, but I got something else I want to talk about here, dude. The only thing I don't like about this is terms. 50% down up front, 40% in 30 days, 10% when you finish. Isn't that a little much? 50% down up front, I can live with. 40% in 30, why not the other 50% when they're finished?
I can discuss that with them, and I'm sure they'll do it.
Yeah, it just seems
It either needs to be 50/50 or 40/30/30 or
something
something like that.
Because it puts in my mind the fact that maybe these people don't have any money to operate on, because they gotta have their money in 30 days, and even if they're not finished, and that just struck me, so.
Okay. I'll see if they'll do 50 on signing and 50 due on completion. That's what I'll check.
That's with bank pack.
Yeah.
What's the timing on the repairs, AJ? I would assume anything with the sprinkler system has got to be fairly urgent?
Yes. I mean, once we give them the go-ahead, I mean, they'll have it done rather quickly. I called the sales rep before I came up here, but I guess he was on another call. He didn't answer and didn't call me back, because I was gonna ask him those type of questions, but couldn't get hold of him.
So we had a motion and a second, and gentlemen still good with that?
Yeah.
Okay, vote?
Yeah.
Aye, 3-0. All right, AJ.
Thank you.
Sir. That was pretty quick.
All right, yeah.
Yes, sir.
Painless?
Try to be.
All right, item number 7, review of the fire department's request to purchase a Ford Maverick for the fire inspector at a cost of $32,055. This will be a red vehicle.
It's gonna be red and it's gonna cost $4,000 to make it that way. But I can live with that. So,
I think it was $2,800 to make it that way.
I don't understand it. I don't necessarily agree with it, but I can live with it.
Yes, sir, it's 32.55, then it grades it from, it grades the package on the vehicle from what it was before to what it is now to have a red truck.
Yeah, so Donnie, the particulars there, in
Is it
order to get a red
2025?
truck, we have to up the trim package from an XL to an XLT.
Right.
So it's $3,000.
We're replacing a 2005, I believe, Chevy Silverado. It's either a 5 or 6. Yeah. Either 2005 or 2006 Chevy Silverado that's in pretty poor shape.
This is coming out of your budget this year, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes. Somebody tells me where it's at. Somebody tells me where it's at. That'd be a great get for us, because number 1, it'd be red, number 2, it'd be brand new, number 3, as much activity as he has in the community, it'll be a win-win for all of us.
And when Jeremy goes out, right, I mean, he's visiting with businesses.
Yes, sir.
And, the truck he has, the headliner, I think you guys have repaired it.
Yes, sir,
but
we
it
did
was
repair it.
hanging down.
Yes, sir.
When it starts, it looks like he's on fire.
Yeah, I seen that old truck. It's pretty rough.
It's rough, so.
I'll be glad to get rid of it.
Looks like something the water department would have.
That's great.
Yeah.
All right. Entertain a motion?
I'll make that.
I'll second.
All right, any further discussion? All right, vote.
I'm good.
All right, 3-0
Thank you, guys.
on that vote.
Thank you very much.
Okay, next item, initial review to discuss the purchase of a new fire engine.
I talked to the vendor this afternoon before I came up, and right now we're talking $875 to $950-ish. And that's also depending on, we know the president imposed some tariff recently, and then he's put a 90-day moratorium on the tariffs, which is a good thing, but like when the tariffs first came out, they said, okay, the tariffs would be, 6%, and that was $40,000 more just because of the tariffs on a new truck
So let's just round it off, say $1 million.
in that ballpark, yes, sir.
That's where you're gonna end up before it's over with.
Could be. If the tariffs go away, then maybe maybe it's a
We
little
do
bit
better,
easier.
yeah, if we
Yes,
do
sir.
better, that's
Yes, sir.
great,
Yes, sir.
So do we have that in the budget there, Mayor?
I mean, it'd have to come out of the general fund, but
Right.
yeah, I mean, and the way this is gonna be structured, right, I mean, we order it.
Yes, sir.
Pay for it when it comes in, which
Yes,
will
sir.
be about 18 months.
Right.
So,
But you still have to commit your funds, so you can't spend that.
correct. And so over the next time period, we will be rebuilding the funds we're taking out. So, I think fund balance is probably, rough idea, we haven't finished up all the stuff yet, but you're probably around $6 million.
6 million?
The
12 million.
Well, so, yes, overall cash you do.
Yeah.
But there's a
Non-
lot of
some you
ARP
can't spend.
money in there, there's a lot of things that's been allocated. The true number is probably between $6 and $7 million once the year's done.
And I did talk to him also about that piece of it, say, hey, we like to do what we did last time, you give me a go-ahead now. We work out all my details as far as truck goes, then hopefully in 18, 20 months, we have a delivery of the vehicle and we pay for it. Last time we just paid cash money for it, took a check down there to NAFCO and gave it to him. But he was also saying there was some other options that we could use, with interest rates being so high, and he threw a couple other things at me. I said, all right, you're confusing me, just send me an email, let me know what those options are, because one of those options could save us like $40,000 on this deal, depending on how we structured the payment of it, whether we did it in 20 months or we did it, I don't know, $200,000 now and $800,000 later. But he said he's gonna send me that information, and I'll be able to bring it.
Could we save any money if we painted your white?
No, sir, I don't, because realize that when they start building, I'll show you the bill process, because we did the other truck. We ordered it in October. That company actually started building the truck like 5 months later, and they sent me to this website link and said, okay, here's your truck. And it was, 4 corners of sheet metal, they were welding together, and that was the cab. And they went through the process and finally ended up red. And we got to show you the entire process. It's pretty neat.
So when and if we commit to the purchase, we lock the price in?
Yes, sir, we do.
At that time?
Yes, sir, we do.
Okay.
Yes, sir, we
So-
do.
So we're not, we don't have our nose open to any volatility past that.
No, sir.
Mr. Mayor, will this hit FY '25 or FY '26?
Depends on when we get the whole thing built out and we know the cost, right?
Yes, sir.
It'd be nice to get you guys to give us the okay to get that done, and then we'll bring it back and give you a true number. And guessing, I would say, it's probably gonna be next year's budget that takes the hit, but we will include it, in there.
Makes sense, yes, sir.
I mean, you got a build out that's,
Right.
$75,000, $80,000 difference between what you're asking, and then Mark offered you another 50, so it'd be good to settle on the number.
Yes, sir.
And put it in the next year's budget, but we can get it ordered, July 1.
So the ask for this meeting is approval to get an official quote?
Yes, sir. Get an official quote and let them go ahead with the process and get the process started, and that, we can, confirm what the truck's gonna, not necessarily look like, but the details of the truck, we can confirm all that. We can look at, Part A versus Part B. Well, Part B does the same thing as Part A, but Part B is $10,000 cheaper than Part A, so I can lower my cost there. We did that on the last truck. We plan on doing it on this truck. The same thing to get the best bang for the city.
Our last truck cost 500 and.
418 and change.
418, yeah. I knew it
Or
was
four,
right around,
excuse me, 486 and change, 486 and
I
change.
knew it was right around
Yes, sir.
$500,000.
Yes, sir.
When was that?
We bought that in 2018.
7 years?
Yeah, and I think the cycle that was agreed to back then was 5 years.
5 years.
So we kicked the can a few extra years.
But that's okay, because the truck will last 25 years, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So
Yes, sir.
you need to stretch it a little farther even the next time, so you get one every 12 years or so. Yeah.
Chief, I'd like to ask that, whatever you do with him, ask that the quote's good till like July 15th.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Will do.
So that the number that we're talking about next time is locked in until we're ready to sign the deal.
All right. Entertain a motion?
What do you think, Donnie?
Make the motion.
You hadn't said anything.
Well, it's going, we're gonna have to have the truck.
Yeah.
It's either now or next year. So,
I'm okay with it if you're okay with it.
make the motion.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
Okay.
All right.
We're actually gonna be about 9 years before we get the truck.
Yeah.
From the last time you bought.
That's still
Yeah.
okay. That's
No, I
still,
mean,
yeah.
it's- But we've been talking about it for a couple of years, so it's good to go ahead and do something.
Let's go ahead and vote to make it official.
Yeah, we did. I did.
Aye. So 3 of them. All right, gentlemen, thank you very much.
You're very welcome. Thank you.
I'm riding that red truck when y'all get it.
I'll give you a ride.
Just one time through town.
Yes, sir. You wait till I get lights put on it first?
Yeah.
Get the lights put on?
Yeah, I want it all
You want the
working.
whole shooting match?
That's right.
All right, moving on to item number 9, FY '25 budget amendments.
Kelly, you wanna talk about that?
I don't have too much on it. You're probably more
So-
familiar than I am.
Yeah. I think the first one is schools, right? Does that look right to everybody?
Yeah.
The second one, I mean, it looks like the only thing being presented is the school amendments at this time. I know Anthony's working on what we're gonna need in the city. I don't think there's gonna be but a couple amendments that we're gonna ask for a couple different departments. And he had a family emergency today, so he's not here, so Kelly and I are trying to get through what he's got us.
It's about $500,000 difference in the schools, what they're asking.
Well, let me make sure I got this right. Section 1, I think, there's a couple different ones, right? Our general fund, we have a little change there. Recreation fund, a little change there. You know, the sanitation fund, what kind of happened there is we were billed last year at the same rate before the increase that was passed on to us. So now we're going back and catching that up because they weren't billing us correctly. Not that the city did anything wrong. They just didn't raise the rate after they notified us in November that the rate would go up. So there's a pretty good difference on that one. The recreation fund is actually backwards as far as the original budget versus what we'll be able to spend. And what kind of happened there is some of the things we planned to get done, we never got. We're trying to get what we can get done at the recreation center so that the pool can open on time. So we had to push some of the expenses that we kind of expected to do into next year. We had a list of like 1 and then a 1B and a 1C. If I'm saying this wrong, AJ, you help me, okay? But because of us wanting to get opened on time, we couldn't get everything that we thought we would do this year that we'd kind of planned for into the number.
Yes.
Okay.
We had, so. So there was phase 1 that we're trying to get accomplished this year. And we ended up having to break it down into a phase 1A and a phase 1B. The phase 1A, phase 1A was broken down into, you had phase 1A, phase 1B. Phase 1A, we only were able to do part of it this fiscal year. So we left out the outdoor slide pool tower. The objective on that was to remove the rust and chipping paint from the outdoor pool stair tower and repaint, recoat the surface. And then there was removing the existing wood parquet floor and the aerobics room floor and replacing it with a new floor. So that's what we took out of the phase 1A for this fiscal year. The phase 1B was going back into the pump room and taking care of replacing the HVAC in that room, redoing some of the mechanical room piping, the sprinkler system in that room, and then the pool pump strainers, replacing those, and taking care of some other corroded conduits. So that was what was all in phase 1 that we had started, that we broke down even further.
And so going back up to the general fund, sales, local taxes came in a little higher than projected. Intergovernmental income was a little higher than projected. Services was a little higher. Fines and forgers, all those are revenue items that came in above what we originally budgeted last year. And then other revenues, and that line item specifically in the budget, it actually was about $30-something thousand less than what we had projected. Sanitation fund we discussed. The next ones are the schools. You can see their revenues went up a little as well. and the cafeteria,
They didn't use any cafeteria fund, that was, I mean, they were $200 and something thousand over on that. That was a big,
it's a big miss,
Yeah.
right? And then in section 2, when you get into this part of it, this is where you can see where we went. We spent a little more than projected. The transfer, you'll notice the big one there, which is in our favor. We left the school general purpose number where we had purchased the land.
yeah.
So that number was higher the year before, it was before Anthony, and when we did the budget last year, we didn't put in the right number. So that extra $754,000 was still in there like we were gonna give it to the schools, but we didn't. So that was an increase back to us. And the fund balance, you can see, you know, Mark, as you said, was 12.3. It's actually gonna end somewhere around 12.5. And there again, a lot of those funds are committed funds that we didn't spend, but they do have homes. And we'll talk about the overall cash position at the next meeting when we talk about our budget for the next year. Capital fund, that's where the land purchase is.
Hey, Joey,
Yes,
can
sir.
I ask a question?
Absolutely, absolutely. Yes, sir.
Can you give us a briefly idea of how much it's gonna drop from 12 million to what's already been appropriated for?
It's probably about $5-point-something million, $4 million, a
So
little bit
we're,
plus.
so actually what we're looking at is about $7 million.
Yeah, as a general fund balance, yes, sir. Uh-huh.
Okay.
And we're putting all the numbers, how we're gonna end together.
Right.
And that's what we will give you some definite answers on. It could be committed funds to where we committed for the chiller, for the rec center, that 3-something's in those numbers. All the things that we did this year that we said we were gonna do that actually isn't gonna pay out is in that fund balance.
That should help next year, though.
Yeah. I mean, it'll all come out next year, but as you can tell at the top, right? I mean, when we did our revenue projections last year, we were extremely conservative, and we've had an uptick in revenues.
Very fortunate.
Very, right? So those will add to the cash position of the fund balance. Okay? And there's gonna be some departments that are gonna come in under budget, that will actually add back to it as well. You know, remember, it was us three last year on budget finance. We kind of built infrastructure with personnel and all those things, but we didn't actually get everybody hired until
Right.
6 to 8 months into the new year. So that's why you're seeing some of the departments have money left, and we're gonna ask on in here that we spend a little of it so that it's not such a big adder to the balance, okay? And then the next page is just truly the school fund. And Mark, they actually did do the cafeteria, but they had the 230.
I knew they spent money on cafeteria, yeah. But-
So that's what we have that we know we're gonna need a couple readings on to fix this year's numbers so that we get audit ready. So that's what we have today. Did I say that right, Ken?
Yes.
Okay.
So what do you need on that?
Need a motion and approval to send to Beaumont.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
All right, and we'll make that a 3-0 vote.
Chairman, if it's okay with you, on number 10, I'll just go ahead and start on it. And what that is we'd like to have a special called Budget and Finance meeting on May 8th at 5 o'clock. We're also, based on that meeting, we will get you guys a budget information before there, give you some time to look at it, and then we can have good conversations about what some changes are, or donations and things that affect the budget. But that'll be our probably long work session on this coming budget, okay? We just got the schools that's coming over today, so we have to include that in our budget before we can honestly have an overall conversation about our budget. So does the 8th work?
What day is
Is that Thursday?
Yeah.
Does that work? Okay. And we'll do it at 5 o'clock, and I would plan, to be honest with everybody, for an hour and a half or 2 hours. And then hopefully we can come to some terms at that meeting. And then we're gonna have a special called BOMA meeting on the 15th at 5:30 to try to pass the first reading of the budget based on the recommendations that come out of here. And that way would put us into the June 2nd meeting for the second reading, and hopefully we don't need something on into June. But if we do, we just gotta get done by the end of June, obviously, to make it work.
All right.
Does that sound good to everybody on those dates and everything? And we'll get that posted, get everybody the information.
Yes, sir.
The-
Hey, good with you,
I'm
Mr.
a
Magic?
happy man.
That's fine.
So the next one, the one that we added, I give everybody a handout, and what we're trying to do, like I said, we budgeted some money in the police department. For the first time, we learned at safety last night, all positions inside of the police department are filled. We have one opening left in the city as a whole, and I think it's in George's group, and it's a heavy equipment operator. Other than that, we have filled all the positions inside of the city for the first time since I've been a part of this. We actually filled the last couple of positions inside the police department with a 11-year veteran and a 14-year veteran. It's not just hiring the new ones and sending them to school. So we've actually made really good tractions, because if you remember correctly, for the last couple of years, there was concern about the experience level and filling of the positions, and we added 4 new positions last year, so we were able to overcome the opens and fill them all this year. So they've done a really good job there. So what we're trying to do here is, we set on a path to purchase 4 new vehicles every year for them guys. And so by the get to the 7th year, you have something of value to sell back, so that your cost every year gets less and versus.
So basically, we're into the second year of that, or are we into the third?
We're into the 3rd already.
That's what-
We
that's what I
bought
was-
11 new patrol cars in the last 2.
But in reality, the following year is when we'll start the rotation back over.
Yeah, and so what we're gonna try to do, if you guys will let us, is we wanna go ahead and purchase vehicles early with their leftover funds that we had allotted them this year, so that, and we'll leave the same line item for vehicles next year. But we have some other items that they're looking at to integrate and upgrade. And if we need more vehicles, we can spend it, but this will help us actually save money by getting them bought early before tariffs and those things happen.
And Chief Sight last night said he was at 54% of his budget, I believe was the number.
Yeah.
That's all he spent in the 9th month or 10th month of the year. So there again, a lot of that is money that we set in there to give them for new hires that we just now have got full. So,
Which in return is really the reason we're showing a $7 million. We caught that on the front end last year.
Yeah.
Basically, what I'm saying is that's the difference between the previous year and the $7 million approximately we have today.
yeah, because remember last year, we all agreed to take like $1.something million out of the general fund to make ourselves whole. And I don't think we're gonna have to take anything out of the general fund to make ourselves whole in the new budget. And that's why we're trying to get ahead on a few things, because we'd set the money aside to spend. So their total ask for 4 patrol cars and 2 admin vehicles is $308,428.80. This went before safety last night, and we got a blessing from them guys as you make that decision.
All right, so entertain a motion for the purchase of the 308 number?
Sure. Really, what we're basically doing is just what we started 2 years ago.
We're just doing it a few months earlier to get in front of any cost, which helps us.
Did you make a motion? Warren?
Go ahead. I'll say.
All right, vote.
Well, let's discuss,
Oh,
one more
oh,
thing.
you still
okay?
wanna discuss,
Yeah, I'm
okay,
not
I'm sorry.
through yet.
Sorry.
So, I understood last night that if we buy these cars, we're not buying any cars next year for the police department. Did I understand that wrong?
No, that was the conversation, but we're gonna leave it in there so that
I
it's.
understand you buy the computers and all the stuff, and I'm 100% for that. But I'm not 100% for buying any more cars next year, so.
Well, and remember, we left the door open, based on some conversations that if we felt like we needed to, we left that line item in the budget. But the intent from last night is to outfit all patrolmen with computers in their cars so they don't have to come here to do their work. They stay out on the road and be visible, and they can do all their paperwork and everything from the cars. But that'll be in next year's ask.
I think it's a wonderful thing to do.
But I think it just opens the door, Mark, to, you know, like you said, if Bill is with just 54% of his budget
Yeah.
at this point right here, which in return says it's working,
Yeah.
you know, so we just need
Yeah.
to stay with the same
I
approach.
I want to
we
stay
had.
the course, I do, but
Right.
these cars are for next year.
Yes.
They would have been in next year's budget if we didn't have surplus this year, so,
Yeah.
yeah.
And, you know.
Would it be safe to say, Mayor, we're just ahead of the game on this, is basically what
It is. It's just a way for us to go ahead and get out front, because we don't know what the market's gonna be in 2 or 3 months, and it could cost us another $30,000 or $40,000 to buy the same vehicles. But you know, as a whole, you guys have been nice enough through this year and everything. A lot of these new vehicles and stuff we're purchasing, not just for police, but for other departments, is because we did the infrastructure of employees, and we're finally just getting them filled. So we're actually giving them different resources. You know,
Well,
we bought a ton of new vehicles this year, but if you look over our fleet, it was time.
It was.
And-
But we made a commitment last year in budget and finance to catch up.
Yep.
Because we've been behind for a long time.
Yeah.
I mean, we went through some tough years.
And also, you know, we gotta give the department heads some kudos, right? We've been doing asset list. We've sold, probably $65,000 or $70,000 worth of assets that we don't use anymore. And we have a ton more fixing to go to Gov Deals, you know, so that'll put money back into the fund to continue to buy equipment and things. Yep.
So I'll vote yes.
Donnie?
Yes.
All right, yep, 3-0 is a vote.
Thank you, guys.
All right, do we have any new business we need to discuss?
Don't know me.
Any old business?
I don't have any.
All right, I have a question. Joey, where are we at with the water budget?
So we're close to putting that together. So we have 2 main ones that we're trying to finish. Everything else in the city's done. One is the water and sewer budget. We're wrapping that up with some increases and things with projections, since we're gonna ask for increases. And then the other one is the rec center budget, and we're working through some things within it as we continue to, I want to say, reorganize the department and move employees to where they fit best within the city.
Okay. Will we have something on that by the 8th?
Yes, yeah, I'm gonna try to get it to you the first part of the week, so when you come here, you're not looking at it for the first time.
Okay.
I want you to have it in front of you so you can make notes and we can have a productive meeting. That's our goal.
Good.
Absolutely. Yeah.
All right.
One other thing,
Yes, sir.
and so, if you guys would like, you know, we have a financial advisor, Scott. He came in yesterday and went through a lot of debt service and a lot of things on the city, with Anthony and myself. Would you guys like to see him at some point to have those
Is
go?
that Scott Gibson?
It is, yeah. I mean, we can get him back in for a budget and finance meeting so that,
I think it would really be helpful if
Yeah.
he did,
Yeah.
if he did come to.
yeah, because we have, believe it or not, we have a lot of debt that we're paying off that, like 2029. We've got 3 or 4 more years. Now, we're probably gonna ask for some new debt in water and sewer next year. You know, with ARPA money and everything we're doing, we're gonna spend $7 million on the sewer system this year. And they have some debt service that's coming up that won't change their payment to borrow money. And we're probably gonna ask for that to keep the momentum in our water and sewer. So,
I think it'd be a good idea if you did.
okay. I'll get that done, and we'll probably try to do it like in August, September, after we get through the budget cycle, if that's okay with everybody, because I think we'll have plenty on our plate between now and then.
We can buy Kelly some new paper.
She's being awful efficient with that one.
I'm thinking about saying something else just so she'll have to turn the page.
All right, if we don't have anything else, motion to
Let's go on.
adjourn. All right, 3-0 to adjourn. Thank you, gentlemen, thank you very much.
Look at that. Barely made it.
You did, didn't you?